everybody. We are in week 2 of the Unleashing Your Superpowers 100-day campaign, where we have 40 inspirational leaders across the globe. You have heard Doreen's story from China, working for Microsoft. Today, I have a sister, a coach, a mentor, an author, a C-suite board member who is amazing, all the way from South Africa, Professor Shirley Zinn. I met Shirley in South Africa one day. She came to speak to us, and I thought to myself, you know what? One day, I want to meet this lady. I want to speak to her. I want to be like her. How many of you have role models? Because like as Tony says, you need to have a role model. You need to have somebody that you model. And Shirley Zinn is one amazing role model, personally for me. Now, I'm just going to run down her CV. Shirley Zinn is an academic with a wealth of experience in human resources. She is the former group head of human resources of Woolworths Holdings Limited. Prior to this, she was the head of human resources at Standard Bank South Africa. And she also worked for many organizations as a human resources board member. Currently, she has her own consulting firm called Shirley Zinn Consulting. She's also an author of this book called Swimming Upstream. You'll be inspired if you read her book. I've read it personally. It really touched me. It inspired me. Talk about somebody's story about how they navigated their work environment to succeed. She is not a STEM background. She doesn't have any STEM background. But I chose women who sit on many boards because we know we don't have many women in board positions. So there are a couple of women I've included in my interviews. She's going to share a secret about her epiphany moment. Sometimes short conversations that we meet with certain people can just change your entire life. And that's what she shares, which was her epiphany moment. I want you to watch this video. You will be inspired. You're going to learn so much about how just meeting certain people, knowing their story, can change your entire story. The second part is who you surround yourself with makes a huge difference. Ask yourself, who is in my network? Who is my supporter? Who is my cheerleader? I can tell you right now, with me, I wouldn't have been where I am today if it wasn't for a huge network of people support me. You need to be deliberate about the people that support you. Identify them and work with them, connect with them, because those are the people who are going to take your career to the next level. Thank you. Shirley, I would like you to share with us your epiphany moments in terms of your career, because we look at the statistics and women, particularly in STEM, to get to board positions. So they will rise, probably struggle, as especially they move into manager, they move into senior manager, but they start falling. They start becoming less and less. By the time you get to VP, you have done a lot. And then getting into C-suite, it's like the door is closed. You've got to really push hard.
Yes.
Tell us your epiphany moments, and I think share with us, what are those epiphany moments that propelled your career?
Thank you so much. So I have to go, I've thought about this, reflected on this really hard, and I had to go all the way back to when I was a young girl growing up in the Cape Flats with very little hope, with gangsters and alcohol and gender-based violence back then already. A lot of girls not even making it through high school. I mean, today our statistics are still very, very poor. We have, 50% of our learners falling off between grade 1 and grade 12. And I would certainly have been one of them if my father didn't sit down with me and say to me, we want you to make something of your life. My parents were very keen that my sister and I were not going to become statistics, that we didn't make it to matric, or we fell pregnant, or we were raped, or we got involved with gangsters, or we got caught up in, drugs. And so my parents sat us down at a very young age, and that is why I believe education at a very early age is very important. I was lucky to have parents who cared about us in that way. But I mean, for those of us who don't have a situation like that, there will be significant others, whether it be a teacher or somebody that says, and this was a very compelling a moment for me when they said to me, make something of yourself. Don't fall prey into the situation. Make something from nothing. It was lessons like that. And I
Yes.
said to my father in the end, what exactly is it that you are telling us? And he said, please just get to matric. Please just cross that line. That's all we ask. And then you can go and work and you can help us with our finances. My mother was on the flip side of that, in that same epiphany moment, was teaching us about values of respect other people, be humble, be yourself, believe in yourself, be kind, be self-serving, living in service of others rather than your own self. And these were the messages, and these were the little moments that became the epiphany when I actually finally got to matric and finished it. So that was a big game changer in my life. And to add a cherry on top of that, when I was in matric, I was so daunted and so anxious that I might fail and I'm going to let everybody down, including myself. And then I had two teachers in the middle of that year say to me, you know what, you're not the brightest pea in the pod. You're not getting straight A's. You're not, smashing the lights out, but you work hard. And here's the important thing I'd love people to hear, Patience. It's that you have the potential to do much, much more than you think you can do. So I sat there, I was, wow, okay. So what do you want me to do? And they said to me, we want you to go home tonight and speak to your family about university. And that for me was 5 minutes that changed the trajectory of my life forever. I went home, had the conversation. My parents were like, well, we don't have money and we don't have time. So you're going to have to get a bursary. You're still going to have to do your weekend jobs. You're still going to have to do your chores at home. And we will put a roof over your head and give you a plate of food. But you can't fail because you need to make sure that you succeed at this. This is a huge investment we are making. I was so thrilled and so excited. And I want to say sometimes it's those 5-minute conversations that we have with people that changes the entire mindset, that changes what is possible. And suddenly the impossible becomes possible. And that for me were the big epiphanies, throughout in my life. So off I went to university, something I never thought I would do. And then I just kept going through life, thinking that I needed to get to the very end. So, I never imagined I would go to Harvard. I'm so grateful that I could have done a master's and a doctorate there. And that, it was my mother-in-law of all people who clipped a little newspaper clipping out and it said Harvard South African Fellowship now open for application. And they pay for 5 people to go and study at Harvard. They still do it, actually. You can Google it. It's still there.
Wow.
And I know there must be hundreds of people that apply. I didn't think that I would ever, make it. But I went for an intimidating interview and I got in. And that was another epiphany moment, because sometimes you got to step out of your comfort zone and do something that you never imagined you would actually do, something quite left field. And you've got to have faith in yourself. You've got to say, I'm going to take a little bit of a risk here and do something that might or might not happen. And then the other thing perhaps that I was very, very fortunate in this life to have is, and I say this to women all the time, you know, we inherit a lot of people in our lives. We inherit family, we inherit friends, we inherit colleagues. But what you can deliberately do and intentionally do is surround yourself with people who will uplift and inspire you, even if it's one or two people. Find those people, spend your time with them, because you become like the people you spend your time with. And so the one person I want to hold up here is my husband, for always supporting me and accompanying me, giving up what's good for him so that I can actually excel and thrive. He did that twice. I asked him to please go with me to Harvard to do my doctorate.
Yes.
He gave up his job. He sold what he could and he came along with me. Not too many people, men or women, would do that for their significant other.
Absolutely.
And it's that self, that giving of self, that that was so powerful in my life, and I'm so grateful, and that is why I want to just give up this gift to others as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Patience, to be part of this journey with you, and for the inspiration that you are because of the work that you are doing, and for seeking me out amongst all the thousands of other people you could have had. I'm really honored and humbled, and look forward to what will emerge as you journey forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shirley.